live and uncut. And I'm your host, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, John R. Hudson, giving you the latest and greatest in Hudson County news, as we do every week. So, first of all, one of the biggest stories in New Jersey, and it's actually even got up on some big networks like MSNBC. We're talking about the county organizational lines, and we just learned late last night that Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bhalla, who's a Democratic candidate for Congress in the 8th District, and Jersey City Ward E Councilman James Solomon, they have signed on U.S. Representative Andy Kim's lawsuit to end these lines. Of course, he's also a Democratic candidate for Senate. So we're going to talk about what they said in this amicus brief and what this potentially means for the June 4th primary. Also going to talk a little Jersey City. There's quite a few things going on already this week. And the two big ones, the Jersey City Superintendent of Schools, that's Dr. Norma Fernandez, is calling on the New Jersey Department of Education to appoint a fiscal monitor and to review the conduct of the 5 trustees that ousted the president, vice president, and then named the new president and vice president. And of course, they had a lengthy response of their own, so we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about the appellate court. The reason being is that ward map, even though that it was drawn about 2 years ago, a little more now, this has been hung in limbo since November as both sides, meaning the plaintiffs and the defendants, petitions this appellate court. And it turns out the lawsuit still has a pulse. So I'm going to explain to you what that means and a whole lot more right after this word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2720.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John R. Hudson. So first, again, the big story that's hot off the presses, if you will, is the county line lawsuit by Andy Kim, the congressman running for U.S. Senate. And he's just been joined now by 2 locals. That's Ward E Councilman James Solomon of Jersey City and Mayor Ravi Bhalla of Hoboken, who's also, as I just said a few moments ago, a Democratic candidate for Congress in the 8th District. So this isn't a huge surprise. As you know, Solomon hosted a downtown Jersey City meet and greet with Bhalla and Kim last month. And Solomon came out against the line as early as 2021, maybe even before that. He has always been an opponent of the Hudson County Democratic Organization. And Mayor Ravi Bhalla, while he has had some relationship with them in the past, like last year, John Allen, who was Assistant Corporation Counsel for the city and also ran Bhalla's ticket in 2017 unsuccessfully, he ended up becoming the assemblyman largely on the strength of the line last year. So, just a little backstory for you. But looking at the actual filing itself, they're represented by Matt H. Adler, a partner at Trauman Pepper Hamilton Sanders LLP. And basically, let me read you an excerpt. So he says, Mr. Bhalla personally experienced the chilling effect of the weight of the line, the primary effect, disadvantage for unbracketed candidates, has on candidates seeking to enter into a Democratic primary. And he goes to explain that in 2015, Bhalla wanted to run for state assembly, but given that he wasn't going to get the line, he ended up not doing it, basically because it would have just been an impossible task to win. So that's, a little Hudson County history for those not familiar. And then also, there's 3 others that are actually on the lawsuit. 2 others. That's Joe Cone. He's a Democratic candidate for Congress in Kim's district, and former state Assemblywoman Valerie Veneri Huddle, who happens to be the sister of HCDO Chair Anthony Veneri. Now, having said that, We heard from Bhalla through a spokesman, and he said in a statement, the ballot favoritism given to candidates endorsed by county political parties is not only undemocratic, it deters good people from running, doing a grave disservice to the voters who are denied real choices. It results in a system where too much power is in the hands of a select few and often unelected party leaders. Now, as for Solomon, again, he's been somebody that's fought against the machine since he was elected in 2017, re-elected by a large plurality in 2021, actually the largest of the nonpartisan Jersey City municipal elections, which also included the mayor. He won by a margin of approximately 69 to 31. So it was a strong showing for him. And he's calling, and Bhalla actually, are both calling for block voting, which would be similar to the nonpartisan races that we have in Jersey City and Hoboken. So in the briefs, Adler also said, during his campaigning for candidates in Hudson County in the 2020 and 2023 Democratic primaries, Mr. Solomon was continually told by voters that the line caused them to believe that only those candidates on the line were Democrats, that any candidate not appearing on the line was running as a Republican or independent. And I spoke to Solomon briefly this morning, and he told me, yesterday I was proud to file an amicus brief in support of Andy Kibb's lawsuit seeking to overturn the line system that rigs our primary ballots. The line is archaic and undemocratic. It enables corrupt backroom deals between candidates and bosses, candidates in exchange for the advantages of the line. It should not exist. So, U.S. District Court Judge Zahid Qureshi will hear the case in Trenton Federal Court on Monday, March 18th. That's 1 week before the filing deadline for the June 4th primary, so we're going to keep our eye on that. Obviously, if they got rid of the lines for this election, that would be monumental. So who knows what's going to happen, but it's definitely not going to be boring, I would say that much. So speaking of not boring, we have this ward map decision out of the appellate court, as I mentioned. So the majority of the claims were dismissed. I mean, there were quite a few allegations made by the group that was basically just called Jersey City United against the ward map. And they made quite a few claims. That included violations of their constitutional rights, violation of the New Jersey Civil Rights Act, and the Open Public Meetings Act. And their final claim related to municipal ward law, and that was the only count that the appellate court decided to reinstate on appeal. They're remanding it to the lower court, which is Hudson County Superior Court, for further proceedings, but it's a very limited hearing, and the city seems pretty happy with the decision. So let's go into a little bit more detail. So if you guys remember at the top of the program, I mentioned that the Board of Ward Commissioners approved new ward maps for each of Jersey City's 6 wards, and that was January 2022. And whenever there's a differentiation between 2 wards after a U.S. Census, which is of course every 10 years, then you have the ability to do rewarding, as it's called. Also, some call it municipal redistricting. And in this particular instance, Ward E actually ended up being 59% more populous than neighboring Ward D. So 2 lawsuits challenged the maps. One was just by a private resident, that's James Calderon, and the other, like I said, Jersey City United against the new ward map, and that includes Frank Educational Gilmore, who's the Ward F councilman. So they both were consolidated and dismissed in August 2022, and then they went before the court again, as I briefly mentioned, in November, and everyone was kind of just scratching their heads as to what was going on, and then we saw on Monday that this decision would be out on Tuesday. So the long story short is this. On a motion to dismiss and without any factual record, the trial court in these matters simply concluded that the wards were compact. The court needed to conduct some more proceeding focused on the question of whether there was a rational basis for the commission's configuration of the wards. The proceeding, however, should be limited. Now, we heard from Mayor Stephen Fulop via Twitter. He responded to my initial post about this, and he said the entire lawsuit was silly and a manufactured issue / waste of time. Anyone who looked at the data behind the redistricting objectively would have come to the same conclusion as the courts, of course referring to the lower court, the Superior Court. So we're going to take a quick break, folks. When we're back, we're going to talk about the Jersey City Board of Education, and I'm fortunate to be joined by the president, Dejon Morris, right after this word from our sponsors.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCBOE, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View, live on Uncut, John Arhitis. And as I just mentioned a few moments ago, today I'm joined with Jersey City Board of Education President Dejon Morris. Dejon, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so first of all, let's go to February 29th. Obviously, well, it was something. Let's just say it was something. A lot of things happened that people have strong opinions about. You know, just last week you saw sitting in that chair you're sitting in, Jersey City Education Association President Ron Greco had a lot of strong feelings. So he called this a January 6th moment. He said this was like the equivalent of a local insurrection. I imagine you have some thoughts on that.
I think that's a silly example of what took place on the 29th of February. I like to call it democracy and being able to utilize the tools that you have to make just decisions. To be compared to January 6th is ludicrous, and it just shows the level of desperation in the president of the JCEA in his remarks.
All right, fair enough. So, look, now, when we saw these briefs or these statements, whatever you want to call them, that went to the Department of Education yesterday, you know, there are a lot of things that I think the general public didn't know. Like, I don't think too many people even knew that Regina Robinson was still on the payroll, but we'll get there. First of all, though, I think an important point is it was established in caucus, at least according to your statement, that Natalia Ioffe, who I guess is the former president now, she was notified that this was going to be a move that the board was going to be making. And I mean, you stand by that claim? I
mean, she had some inkling that something was going to take place. We didn't necessarily say, hey, you know, we're going to, you know, remove you. But she made a statement in closed caucus that stated that she, you know, if this was my last time as president, you know, let me get some things across. So I guess that was her way of saying that she knew, but there was no official conversation with her in regards to it.
Okay. Now, so when this whole thing's unfolding in real time, obviously Ioffe called for a recess. No one really acknowledged it for a moment or two. And then people start to get up and leave, including herself, the vice president, the superintendent, and others. Obviously, you're there. So what's going through your head at this moment?
So I believe that was a maneuver to avoid the obvious, to immediately move to a recess with, number one, without acquiring a vote. If you were going to a recess, everyone started grabbing their belongings. So it appeared to be, you know, organized. If you're going to put us on a recess, that means that when we come back, we have to still address the motion that's on the floor. And once we found out that everyone was leaving, the motion was still opened on the floor. So the superintendent and Ioffe and Vasquez said that they were in fear of their safety. But we had Jersey City Police there, and we had a large amount of security that was there, and the crowd was in their seats, so they weren't threatening. You know, words don't hurt unless you know, maybe your feelings, but other than that, it was no danger that would warrant for them to get up and leave in a unified way.
And not to beat a dead horse or anything, but the superintendent, as you saw in her statement to the DOE, she said this was a coup, and you know, she said basically I forgot the exact term, but like the turncoat board, whatever. I know it was a different word, but something along those lines. And she's calling for intervention from the DOE. So, I mean, what do you think is going to happen here?
I'm just amazed at how the act that took place on February 29th is labeled a coup or labeled rogue. The word
rogue, that was what I was trying to think of.
In order to be rogue, you had to have gotten some type of instruction. There had to be a script in order for you to be rogue from. So if she's stating that we were not compliant to a script that she was accustomed to the board following, then I guess I would have to fall under the umbrella of rogue. But you know, to make those statements to the state and that she made, I believe it was fabricated. You have 5 individuals who have been sitting on the board for a month now, and we exercised what was at our disposal in our bylaws. We clearly went through it, we clearly understood it, and we executed it. Now, if thinking independently and following the bylaws considers us to be rogue or a coup, then I guess that's what we have to be labeled as. But you know, this is not a dictatorship operation. We were elected by the people of Jersey City to be independent thinkers and to represent not only just the taxpayers and the residents, but the 30,000 scholars that we have that we represent. You know, so our decisions matter. So we can't follow a script because there are certain things that a script is not warranted for. At some point, there has to be constructive and professional conversations because we can't agree on everything.
Right. So they've asked the DOE to intervene. They're not acknowledging your presidency. As you know, the school board district still has Natalia and Naomi as the president and vice president. Where do you think this goes? How do you think it ends?
Listen, obviously the administration controls the website, but we did what was according to the bylaws. 5 votes voted in, and I've been recognized as the president. If the DOE or judge or whomever it is responsible for making a decision, sees that I am not, I will comply, and I will continue working in the trustee format. The issue is not me being president. I don't need to be president to get things done. But this had to happen because the president was not allowing the board to hold the superintendent accountable for things that were not being done. Complaints that have been made that have gone without investigation, you know, certain issues that have happened that a meeting needed to be had with the superintendent. The president wasn't allowing us to do that, you know. So once you have a blockage, you have to remove that blockage in order for us to get anything done for the people, for the students and the employees of the district.
Understood.
Yeah.
Dejon, don't go anywhere. Folks, don't go anywhere either. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. Still John Arhitis, and I'm still here with Jersey City Board of Education President Dejon Morris. So now you guys had a reorganization right after you got the new trustees like yourself were sworn in. Obviously, Natalia and Naomi won that vote. It was 5-4. It was close. But why did you guys address this then?
Well, because the issue didn't exist then. Remember, 3 of us out of the 5 who voted for them to be in leadership are new. So we only knew what they told us. I wasn't introduced to the large amount of issues until after I was sworn in, and I was privy to things that took place in the closed session meetings. You know, so we only knew what Vasquez and Ioffe told us prior to our arrival in regards to a lot of things dealing with the board. You know, so I had no reason not to trust her. I had no reason not not to believe in her leadership at that time. But unfortunately, due to me being in the process, I have learned things and things have been shared that happened in private session that has since changed my opinion.
All right, now that was a relatively short time. I mean, it was just under 2 months. We'll call it 2 months probably, within a couple days, give or take. So what exactly, could you give us some color as to what exactly made you to lead to this decision?
I mean, well, John, I'm an investigator by nature. So whenever you put me on, I chair the finance committee, I chair infrastructure, I chair technology, I'm a member of personnel, I'm a member of policy.
Okay.
So when you put someone on these important committees, obviously you see things and you question things. So when I began to question things, they became aware and threatened by that. And then the silent treatment happened. And the president at that time did not address any of the issues that were brought up, mainly about obviously we have 48 buildings that are over 100 years old, according to the superintendent. But we have a $1 billion budget, and we also have a budget allocated for the repairs of the schools. But for some reason, you don't see the results. We're told one thing in a meeting, but yet you don't see results. So, my question was, why do our children who are expected to achieve to the highest level in the state of New Jersey operating in a learning institution that is not conducive to learning? When you have a child sitting in the cold in the winter or in the heat in the summer, how do they concentrate to be able to be challenging on these proficiency tests that's required by the state? So we're not doing our job. And you can't keep using the excuse that these buildings are 100 years old. We're talking about the present. We have a $1 billion budget.
Point taken, Detective. So 2 clerical points, if I may. So in the Jersey Journal that ran on the Tuesday, the 2 days before the meeting happened, there was a quote from you that said, I have no desire to be president, I don't have the time, something to that effect. And then 2 days later, you made a motion to become the president. So how do you reconcile those 2 things?
Well, at the time of the statement, we were not looking to remove Natalia from her position as of yet. We were looking to remove the vice president. But it was because, and me being nominated as president was not planned. I didn't know that because originally we were going to select Christopher Tisdale as president.
Okay.
But it did not occur to me until that moment that they had nominated me. So that was a surprise to me as well. Otherwise, I would have been more prepared when I took over the meeting. So with that being said, it wasn't, I'm not contradicting myself, but at the time that I was asked the question, I did have no desire to remove her, or the board had no desire to remove her.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah. So now the other clerical point that I wanted to put out there is Natalia filed this ethics complaint, and at the same meeting where you became president, you guys then approved that same law firm for special counsel. So some have argued that actually gives the ethics complaint more weight. Now, obviously, you don't see it that way, so why is that?
Well, the ethics complaint, it was a political strategy. And the reason why I say that is because at the time that she's stating in the particular complaint was right after I was elected in November the 7th, which I was at the League Municipality where all of the new elected officials were. I was at a legal cocktail party where a lot of firms were. I was introduced to this firm, and the notion that I was wined and dined somehow, according to the president of the JCEA, is a fabricated statement. That did not happen. I have nothing to gain from this other than having a diverse law firm representing a diverse district of 30,000 scholars and employees. That's it. Then they said that I campaigned vigorously for them. To who? The board members? Because they're the only ones that can make the decision. And in the normal world, we call that lobbying. How else do you get votes through? So that's what I did. I have no control over anyone's voting process or their thinking process. They made a solid, independent decision to hire this firm. And regarding the ethics complaint, Monday we had the caucus meeting, and then that Tuesday I was approached by 2 unnamed politicians that I will not mention, trying to get me to sway my vote after meeting with the then president, Natalia Ioffe. And then I was told that if I did not abstain, or if I did not go another way, that this ethics complaint would go forward. So I don't take well to threats, and I don't adhere to blackmail. So I went forward with what I thought was right. And then it was released on Tuesday. The ethics complaint was released to the media on Tuesday, but the ethics committee did not get it until Friday, which was the day after the meeting. So, I mean, if you put two and two together, you'll see that it was a political strategy.
Dejon, pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best of luck. I think you're going to need it, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate
Ladies and
that.
gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. A few more before we let you guys go for the week. So first of all, last night, the Hoboken Planning Board was supposed to have a hearing on this project that's at the center of a Union City lawsuit. Well, for anyone that has followed litigation in these parts, it's probably not surprising to you that that meeting ended up getting canceled. So my colleague Daniel Yaloa reached out to Marilyn Barr, the spokeswoman for the city. She said, the plans submitted were deemed incomplete both by the board's professionals and city staff. As such, the planning board's site plan and subdivision review committee meeting will be rescheduled. So which project are we talking about here? We're talking 930 Monroe Street, which would potentially be comprised of 3 11-story buildings for a total of 675 units, 68 of which would be allocated for affordable housing, 481 parking spaces. So it's a pretty large development, as you guys could clearly tell. And it received City Council approval in December 2022, with city officials also highlighting that $15 million would be allocated for the Resiliency Park at nearby 800 Monroe. However, the City of Union City filed a lawsuit at Hudson County Superior Court about 2.5 months later, claiming the development would impact the views and therefore the quality of life for the residents of the city. Specifically, if you read the 5-count lawsuit, early on it begins that a height of 151 feet significantly exceeds the height of the Palisade Cliffs and would directly impact the light, air, shadows, and views of citizens and residents of the City of Union City. Interestingly, if you look at the court docket on this case, there's not been any movement since November 3rd. To our knowledge, it has not been dismissed. And the fact that this meeting itself was moved would probably be a good indication that it's still active, but it just seems to be stuck in limbo for whatever undisclosed reason. So hopefully we can get to the bottom of that in the coming days and weeks. Now, last week we had an NJ Transit hearing, and there was only one in Hudson County. It was at the Frank R. Lattenberg Station in Secaucus. There were 10 meetings overall throughout the state. And here we saw Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bhalla speaking out. In short, this was part of his remarks. He said the rate hike will hit black and brown communities especially hard, many of whom depend on mass transit, as owning a car isn't always financially feasible. We should not be balancing the books of New Jersey Transit on these working class residents. We also heard from some street safety advocates from Hudson County. And again, this is a 50% proposed hike that the NJ Transit Board is going to vote on, and there would then be a 3% hike annually in perpetuity. So this is a fairly big deal for commuters that don't have access to a car. And finally, talking about Jersey City lawsuits, the Jersey City Recreation Department had some people sue in May 2021. You might recall they did a reorganization and they changed some things around and some new directors. They went the name from the Department of Recreation to the Department of Recreation and Youth Development. And the suit originally had 12 employees, 4 remained, one of which is Frank Gilmore, who was in the ward map lawsuit. And in this case, it was dismissed with prejudice. And the city said, through the spokeswoman Kimberly Wallace-Galcione, said from the beginning that this was a frivolous lawsuit and an unfortunate waste of time. Gilmore told me sometimes the wheels of justice turn slow, something to that effect, and he hinted that he may try to do some sort of appeal. So with that, folks, we're going to call it a week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Hudson Media Group. Follow us on social media on Twitter